This is what my game looked like over 18 months ago, and this is what it looks like now. How did I get here? That's a good question. Let me show you. Back in February of last year, I started a project, a simple game that I had intended to release in June of that year. However, things happened, and now instead of a few hour long RPG made in RPG Maker MV, meant to get me some money so I don't have to get a job, turned into this. Okay, it doesn't look as good, so I will show you the first area from the final RPG Maker version. Yeah, this was meant to be 1/10 of the game. Since then, I've changed engines along with the genre twice, from turn-based RPG to action RPG, you know, like 2D Zelda and that, then back to turn-based RPG because the tutorial I was using, as good as it is, and I would recommend to anyone wanting to make an action RPG game in Game Maker Studio, just wasn't pulling me in. Now, I've already made a short about each version, but I want to go in depth with each version and pick apart the individual parts of each version and why I decided to restart progress. First up, this abomination. Yeah, this is by far my least favorite version as it's the first. Sure, it actually works, unlike another version that I'll bring up later, but it just screams rush to be released. And I mean, it was made to be released in June of that year, and I had started back in February, so that's why. I also had a few different plans for it, and each disappeared as time went on. The first one was that there would be pyramids scattered across this place, the desert. It's pretty barren and boring, but would have had occasional pyramids that you would enter, make your way through a maze and fight some dude in order to get a new weapon, which was very boring, so I scrapped it. Then there were these other puzzles that gave you items, but I'm not sure if I even have footage of this stuff. So moving on to version 2. Version 2, or as I like to call it, Tempus Island version 1. Yeah, the previous version was called Time's Crest, a horrid name, I know, and was a lot more ambitious. As I mentioned before, this was meant to be 1/10 of the game. Now, I actually really liked how this version was going, but I hear you asking, then why did you kill this version? Well, I had tried to get my own enemies in, but when I put in the sprite for the goat I designed, it didn't work. I even replaced one of the images in the files with the goat, and the old one loaded up somehow. I thought about it and decided that I would stop developing with RPG Maker, even though I'd spent about $100 on it all up and started developing in Game Maker Studio 2. And there was also this weird bug where when you stood in this grass specifically, this sound would just play. I don't know why, it just did. And this isn't the third version, it's the code for the third version, because the game is broken and doesn't work anymore. I don't know why. I tried fixing it, but I just couldn't get it to work. So let's just skip this and go on to version 4. This is version 4 and the one I followed a tutorial for, and you can see that I'm slowly getting better at drawing sprites and tile sets. Like, look at that compared to that. However, this was just the worst one for me in regards to making it, as I'd often open it up and just not want to follow the tutorial and just make a few sprites and tiles before stopping and just playing games instead. Then, something happened. Persona 5 Royale was put on Game Pass. Yes, this is relevant. Now, I had been interested in Persona 5 for a while at this point, but I didn't own a PS4. I did own a PS3, but didn't want to buy it for that. I'd also played about 4 hours of Persona 4 Golden on PC, but got bored because it has that stupidly long intro. And not the cutscene, like the part before the gameplay. But Persona 5 just hooked me. I ended up playing through the entire game in a few weeks, and it's over 100 hours long. Then played 4 on my PC, and decided to go back to the more traditional turn-based RPG battle system because of it. See, I told you this was related to it. And here is version 5, Game Maker turn-based. And yeah, these aren't very good graphics, but I'm still getting better. For example, look at that fire. Now, this system seems like it would work pretty well. I've even written some stuff about collecting items after battle. So why is it so bad? Well, let's just attack and see what happens. Yeah, he's stuck like that, and he just keeps going. And yes, he does move slightly, as shown in this time lapse here. And this is the 6th version of my game. Yes, it does look pretty similar to the current version, but under the hood, this one's a mess. Now, most of the issues arose when I was trying to get this stuff to work, and for one, they just teleport around instead of actually moving to the enemy, plus the enemy likes to not have turns, which is an issue. This one actually ended up sticking around for the longest, but after coding in the overworld, it became too difficult to work on, so I restarted again. And here we have it, the most recent version. Obviously not completed, but I feel it's in a pretty good state. The battle system is fluid and works mostly. I haven't added in 3 of the 5 options, but those come later, and this actually works. I also need to add in some more animations, but I'm just trying to get the entire battling system working first. So that was a pretty short journey down the history of Tempus Island / Time's Crest. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, as every new subscriber I get is an additional 50 lines of code I have to write in this game. And make sure to wishlist it on Steam. The page is still outdated, as it's from when the first version of the game, yeah, that one. The name's correct, but the promotional materials are being worked on still, so make sure to wishlist it. And if you want to see the first week of development, click the video on the left, and for a video YouTube thinks you'll like, click the video on your right. And I'll see you next time.